remember is you're live. I might have to shut the TV off and turn it back on.
All right.
Because there's an issue. Go.
Hey, everybody. I want to welcome everyone to Mentorship Mondays with the Owwll App. Now, if you don't have your copy of the Owwll App yet on your phone, make sure to go to either Google Play or the Apple Store to download it. With the Apple app, you're going to be able to get in touch with myself as well as my amazing guests, which I'm just about to introduce. So if you don't have a copy, make sure to get that. I'm going to be your host today. My name's Geoffrey Schmidt of Owwll Mindset Performance Specialists. What we really focus in is working with entrepreneurs, executives, and high achievers, namely on scaling, building, growing their businesses without all the stress of burnout. As a seven-time founder, 3-time exit from 7 of my businesses, I know what it's like to go through burnout. I've been there. I've done that. I've gone through the storm and made it through to the other side. So I'm helping others just like you with that. And before I introduce you to my guests, I just want to make a little announcement. Tomorrow I have not a podcast, but a master class live on Zoom. I'd like everyone to join. It starts at 12 p.m. and it's titled Techniques for Effective Communication in the Workplace. That's 12 o'clock tomorrow over Zoom. With that being said, I'm more than happy and very excited to introduce my guests here, or co-hosts tonight. And to my right, I'm going to start with our newest one, Sebastian. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a music producer. I work with sound healing. I work with energy healing, Reiki, and I'm very passionate about alternative medicine and the power that it has to, really go deeply into your whatever's holding you back to get that high performance, high achievement that you deserve to, be in that state of.
Nice. Okay, cool. And just tell us a little real quick how you got into all that, because I'm sure people are curious.
Real quick.
Yeah. In under 60 seconds, clock's ticking.
Depression led me to go inside of my, soul and figure out what's the best way to channel everything that was holding me back. And I realized that was music. And, plants healed my scars of acne. And I had a back injury in L5 herniated disc. Sound healing and acupuncture fixed that up for me. Meditation really changed my life. And I was able to also, not 7 businesses, but 3 businesses, and paid for my college, paid for my education. And now I'm here again, an entrepreneur in Miami Beach, moved 4 months ago, and I'm still, on the grind. There's a lot to learn, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, hey, we're excited to hear about some of the insights that you're going to share with the call-in people for Mentorship Monday. So get ready to share some of your wisdom.
I would love to.
Awesome. All right. Returning co-host, Isaac from Boca Raton. Why don't you say hi to everybody and remind them who you are?
Hi, everyone. I'm back in the show, and I'm excited. Just remind you who I am. I own a mental health practice these days, and then several companies in the past started, sold, and some of them rebuilt. And that's about it.
Awesome. Well, Isaac, we're looking forward to you sharing your wisdom with everybody tonight. So be prepared to answer some questions.
Got it.
All right. Very good. And Rodrigo, our famous artist from Miami. He couldn't get enough of this show, so here he is. We're happy to have him back. Say hi to everyone, Rodrigo.
Hi, everybody. Also very happy to be here. Thank you, G, for having me. There isn't much more than that. You said it, artist, creator, and having fun in the process. That's all.
Awesome. Well, look, tonight we have an amazing crew of individuals coming from all different walks with all different experiences. And I'm just going to throw this out here too. We got 4 different countries represented. 4. United States, Israel, Peru, and Ecuador. So anyone that habla español, you can call in, speak Spanish. I don't know what to say. That's going to them. You speak Hebrew. This guy's got it covered. And yeah, I'm from America. I speak English.
English gets it done though.
English does land the plane. But what the cool thing is that I'm thinking about right now, maybe you guys are on this wave too, is like, look, we all have different backgrounds in life. We all came from different places. We were all on different journeys. You showed up in the world in Peru. You showed up in the world in Israel, Ecuador. Boston, Massachusetts. But yeah, look at how things work. Look at how the universe, look at how the big picture comes into play. We're all sitting here right now at the same table, about to talk about the same subjects. So if you can't tell me that there aren't bigger things at play, then I don't know what is. What do you guys have to say about that? What do you think?
I think it's fascinating because not just 4 different people from 4 different places around the world, but that's 4 different perspectives and way to interpret things.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way. I think that is what brings change, development, growth at the end of the day, perspective.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Isaac?
I think 4 different personalities, 4 different experiences, 4 different traumas, success stories, upbringings, friendships. So we all have different ways to see things, and I think you can learn something from everyone.
Good. And what about you, Sebastian?
I think culture is a beautiful thing to always look at the different side of the spectrum. I mean, Peru and Ecuador are right there close, and we still have so many different perspectives in life, and the experiences, the traumas that shape you, and that the distortion through the process, through the journey that takes you to the light is always different in not only different parts of the world, but like how you were raised is so important. How your upbringing, how that process impacted you, and what you did about it. Because as you said earlier, there's people that have all these dreams, but they don't take action. Well, I guess we took some action, and I want to learn from you guys as well.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I'm going to run with it a little bit further here then is, with everyone from different countries and stuff, it just goes to show the mindset, the international mindset, the collective, these days, especially with the way the world has changed, you're finding tribes of people coming together from all over planet Earth. So maybe somebody grew up in, I'm just going to throw an example out there, in some small town in Nebraska, we'll say. And maybe in their small town, things were different. They just weren't really feeling it, whatever. They kind of felt like an outsider or something like that. But then they hop on a plane, they move to Miami, and now all of a sudden they start finding people that vibe and that are on their frequency. So I think one thing is that, frequencies, people do start to kind of come together. They find each other. Like you may not be looking for these people in particularly, but they show up when you're open to receiving the experience. You have to be open to it. And as someone who's traveled the entire world, it's like, I can tell you one thing, people, no matter where you go, and I know you guys have done a lot of travel, people are people, man. I don't care where you go on planet Earth. People are people. You're going to find people that you're going to vibe with in every country you go to. And then you're going to find some people which, hey, maybe you just shake hands or give them a high five and you just keep moving on. So that's one of the, I think the real beauties of when you're able to, open yourself up to new experiences, new cultures, new environments. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Definitely. I mean, I just came back from a beautiful trip in Europe, just really quick, Paris, Spain, and Portugal. And what people are people. I'm not going to lie, it's been a minute since I traveled. I was excited because parts of this trip, I was going to do it on my own, walk it on my own. And I don't know, you get this tingling as to who am I going to really cross paths with and who am I going to meet? And if you really just follow these people are people rules and smile and respect and love, so many doors are going to open.
Yeah.
Like the doors you're up for, and there's no reason why to be afraid like I was at some point. When you start to walk with that tone, with that mindset, wow, I think it's only greatness around the block. Definitely.
100%. It's an energy. It's an energy that you cultivate and you build.
Attraction, right? We hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that or it's simply, it's probably much simpler.
Well, it's interesting because we got to have a group here of 4 guys that are all on the same page and understand these concepts and feel these concepts. And here's the thing, as somebody who's, spent most of his life starting, building, growing, and selling businesses, I can tell you from experience right out of the gate that a lot of the people in the business world, entrepreneurs and executives, whatever, who are successful, they always want to attribute, in a lot of cases, whether they're conscious of it or not, to some external event, some external action. I'm successful because I went to, UF and got my degree in law from the prestigious law school. And then I got hired by this firm. They don't a lot of them, I don't know if they realize what's going on beneath the scenes. Beneath the scenes, they are literally cultivating their energy field to, what's the word I'm looking for? To align with the direction they want to go in. So they want to work, they want to go be a lawyer. So they graduate UF law school, whatever, Harvard, doesn't matter, Stanford, and they get that great law degree. And then they end up getting that great job in the law firm. Through that whole entire process, their whole energetic field and the whole way that their mind works and the vibes that they send out have been getting adjusted low key, under the radar to allow that to happen, as opposed to just taking these actions. But here's the thing, when people are not in full alignment with that, what starts to happen is things like, burnout. When you fall out of alignment, that's when you start to break down mentally. You start to get into pleasure seeking behaviors and all kinds of things like that, as opposed to like walking your true path. Because one of my mentors in the past said to me, and I was like, well, I was 21 years old or something like that. He said to me, he goes, Jeff, find your purpose and find your passion, and you will have access to boundless, endless amounts of energy. Endless. He said, you will not want to stop. And when I started my first company in surfing, I worked 18 hours a day and loved it for a little while, So you guys want to add to this? Sebastian?
I think how I categorize that state of being is magnetism. To order to attract what you want to, pull people you want to, as Rodrigo was saying, like walking confidently. It takes time to align, right? And I'm 26. I have a lot to live, but I have lived a lot as well. And I have gone through a couple of mental health bypasses where there was a lot of teachings, and I chose to learn instead of, well, of course I was in some time in a victimized state, but that's where you learn the most, because there's light and there's shadow, right? Duality. In the shadow, distortion allows us to find what we need to work on, what we need to tweak, like tuning a guitar. You're finding that tune that is truly what's in alignment with your ear, with your vibration. And when you start to attune yourself in different degrees of life, automatically you start to just be in the right place and the right time. But I have a question for you is, how do you know when you are in that state of purpose? Because there's the mission, and then there's the path, and then there's a purpose, right? And there's all these different terminologies. How would you say you start to know when you are aligned and walking that path?
The answers are always revealed to you. And what I mean by that very specifically and clearly is the alignment comes from the way you feel. What is that feeling that you get when you're pursuing that thing, whatever you call your passion or whatever it is you're going after? How does it make you feel? Now, here's the thing. This is where people always give up. This is where steam is lost. They may be feeling that passion. They may be feeling on fire inside, and they're like, bam, bam, I can't wait to do this. I'm going to bed, sleep 3 hours and get up and do it again the next day. And they're just on fire, but maybe they're getting no results from their action. Okay. And then they're starting to wonder. They're saying, wait a second. What's going on here? Like, am I in alignment? I don't know. I'm like working so hard, but I'm getting nothing in return. It makes no sense. The alignment is there spiritually, soulfully, internally. What is not there yet is you've not necessarily learned how to play and navigate the terrain, the external terrain. So if you're feeling it, guess what? You have a gift from the universe. You have been touched on the head with the magic sparkly wand that goes boosh. Now you need to accept that gift and be appreciative for it. And now say to yourself, am I going to figure out and do the heavy lifting on the external to get this going? Because that's really it. Like, a lot of people end up, like music, if you're a music producer, things like that. If it's not happening, it's one of just a few simple reasons. One, you're not getting in front of the right market, or two, maybe there's some more inner work that needs to be done so you communicate in that right way to get over that hump, to get what it is you need, or to make it happen. Because that's the other side of the coin is like, it was funny because Rodrigo, when you first came on the first podcast we did together here, he said something which I thought was really interesting, and it just rolled off his tongue. So I don't know if it's, you really thought about it, but you said something amazing. that you can take a short bridge or a long bridge.
Mm.
And some people always get the short bridge, it seems, which is a great thing. All right, we got a caller. We'll get right back to that thought.
Of course.
It's
Hi,
hey,
Chella.
Geoffrey. It's actually along the same lines. You're talking my language. I was planning to call in today.
Oh, so you speak this language too? Because I've been throwing all kinds of subliminal hidden things under just to send out that message into the universe to see if anyone was going to pick up on it. Oh my God. My soul sister.
I picked it up. I knew 2 hours ago I had to call in today. I just didn't know why. But I'm right there. You just described me. I love what I'm doing. I get high every time I help a client, but I'm not feeling the results. Maybe my ego is saying that I should be getting. Let's throw that in there. But so that's why I wanted to call in this morning. Maybe to just get a new spark. Maybe to say, why the heck, since this is a PG show, why the heck am I not getting in front of the right audience?
You don't have to hold back with me.
What do I need to tweak? What do I need to do? I'm asking those questions.
Got it. So it's very, very similar along the lines of what Sebastian was asking, a few seconds ago with regards to that. So yeah, that like I was saying, along the lines of, you have the internal and the external. And when you have it internally, you know it. You just simply know it. Why? Because you feel boundless amounts of energy towards pursuing whatever that thing is. Like the best example I can come up with is my personal one of when I had the surfing company. That wasn't work. Like I was borderline doing that for free. I didn't care in the beginning. I really didn't. And then people felt that, saw that. And it's like everywhere I went, it didn't matter. I was always talking about my surfing company. That was it. That's all I thought about. That's what I went. And that alignment eventually got into a placement where my external matched my internal. So whenever somebody crossed paths with me in any way, shape, or form, face-to-face internet, they knew who they were talking to within like 3 seconds. The whole information package, the whole media kit, you could call it, was delivered in a few little nuggets of linguistics of language. And right then and there, bam, they were going to sign up. They were going to join, one of my programs or something along the lines of that. When that is not happening, then it's really important for us to take a step back, take a look at ourselves and say, listen, what are we not accepting or what are we resisting from the environment? Because ultimately, if we are going to pursue our passion, we have to, one, be able to communicate that passion very clearly to the outside world. Just because we understand it, that's not enough. You can't expect the outside world to figure you out. You have to put it out there in a way that they understand it. Once you can do that, now you have full resonation with them because now they're understanding, and then a magical thing starts to happen. The tribe starts to show up. People have been waiting for that tribal chief for a long, long time. And that's when you have the full alignment. But the big thing I like to always say is don't lose the gift. If you have the gift of passion for something that you love and that you want to do, and you have the ability to run with it, then it's your duty and obligation because the universe gave that to you for a reason. It's like somebody that sits there and they can play an instrument and they're amazing at it and they don't share that talent with the world. Please. It's like, you've been given a gift. Give me a guitar and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but you give someone else a guitar, ask me to sing and I'll hand you, what are they? Little ear balls or something, earplugs, but you give a guy like Rodrigo a paintbrush and he's going to make Monet look bad. Was that over the top?
That's all right. That's all
Or
right.
have him DJ and he's going to make Armin van Buuren, look like he's in high school. Or my guy Isaac over here, everything he does with business, forget about it. He'll make Elon Musk look like, he's running, I don't know, Tonka trucks or something. So that did that kind of answer your question?
It did. It's the inside is done. It's how do we communicate? How do I communicate my passion and who I want to attract? So tweaking the communication is where I need to concentrate.
And asking them what they want to hear. What does the market want to hear? It's not about what you want to give. more, well, you know what you want to give, but you have to package it in the way they want to hear it.
Because
Yeah.
I'd like to add something, because you're no magician either. Like, you don't have to be throwing darts and try to guess. We can be honest. We can be transparent. When it comes down to my work, for example, I simply say, are you interested in buying the painting? Like, are you looking for a painting? Because I don't want to truly lose, I don't know, a whole day or something. It's important to express it. And don't get me wrong, it's not just about selling, because if you do feel like sharing your work, also feel free to do that. Now, that being said, Chela, I'm sure there's a time 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 5 years ago, I don't know, where this was not the case, where you were glowing, where it was working for you smoothly. Am I right? Like, can you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I invite
Absolutely.
you. I invite you to go back there. Like, go back to that Chela. How are you feeling? How are you getting ready? How are you talking? Like, knock that door, meet that Chela again, and ask yourself, like, is this somebody? Who have I stopped being? Was my head somewhere else? Perhaps there's something to learn from that person. Simply, I'm not saying there's an answer there. I'm just saying that's worked for me. And there's always something interesting to go back to our successes, because we sometimes forget about them. So go back to how you were feeling. Go back to how you were talking. That strength in your voice. That's important.
I like it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I cannot wait to see what other magic the four of you. I'm also watching you on LinkedIn. I
awesome.
cannot wait to see what magic the four of you create. This is going to be awesome. I'm delighted you are there. I appreciate your feedback, and I look forward to staying in touch. Keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chela. We appreciate the call. And if there's anything else, hey, you know where to find us. We're right here for the next, 27 minutes? No, 37 minutes. That's right. We're on a tight schedule today. Strict one.
Talk to you soon.
Take care. So interesting, guys. Yeah, that was a great question. I love how it segued right into what Sebastian had brought up to the group here.
Yeah. So I'd like to correct me if I'm wrong, Isaac. You're a pro about mental health.
Yes.
So I know that G is a pro in burnout. So I want to get your feedback, because I've heard G's before. How do you think we should address burnout to not just external factors like changing perhaps time I dedicate to this and that, or the model in my business, external factors, more like inside?
You need to ask yourself, am I ready to receive what I want? Like, you can want a lot of things if you're not ready to receive it. And if you don't, it's like a cup. If the cup is full, or you have to find more room to fill it up. So are you at your max, or are you at the bottom? If you open up, then there's more room to complete and fill up what's missing. You need to know what is missing. Is it just money? Is it income? Is it business? Or is it more looking deeper inside and see, like, am I empty? Am I depressed? Am I down? How is my relationship with my parents, with my wife, with my kids, with my friends, with my colleagues? Like, what is it that I'm surrounding myself with? And maybe that sometimes needs a little tweak, not always in the business, because your personal life affects your energy, and your energy affects your business, and then your business affects your finances. So you have to ask yourself, sometimes just look deeper inside and trying to find what could trigger you to go back to having that same energy that you had before.
Definitely. It's all connected.
And I found, a lot of times that I'm like low energy, and, I'm pretty stagnant. Nothing is going on. Like, everything is the same. So I need to make a change. And, it could be with different ways that you can make the change, with meditation, plant medicine, talking to a therapist, getting closer to religion or God, spending more time at home, reconnecting with your parents, whatever it takes to get you back into that excitement. And when you're excited, people feel it. When you feel good inside, people are attracted to you.
So true.
People trust you.
So true.
People want to be around you. and also removing negativity from your life. Toxicity could be alcohol, could be bad food, could be, bad people in your life that are taking you down, people that are jealous of you. Whenever you are doing any type of healing, you know how it feels that you get rid of all the negative people in your life. And sometimes you need to do a little bit of healing in order to get back on track and excel again. And I've had businesses that I was very successful. I've had businesses that I failed and kind of like, was lost, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And then you have to do some soul searching and see, what is it that I need to do to open up. I can't say open up my chakras because I don't know what it means, but like open up the capacity to accept more.
Well, I think what you just said, that was like pretty profound for, us listening and everyone else listening, because if you really break it down, when you gave the cup analogy or the metaphor about the cup, it's a great way to put it, because think about it, we all have a cup and it's full. And now you want to bring some more into your life. Like what he said, you got to add room to that cup, which often means is you got to ask yourself, what is low key sapping away from the cup? You're going to have to, that's where you have to do the soul searching. You got to get clear on where is your energy going? Because if you're constantly not finding yourself in a place to make something happen that you want to have happen, there's something that's draining your energy. Think of a vehicle, like you leave the car light on and you come in to the car the next morning and you won't turn over when you try to stop it. You did not know that light was sucking the energy from the battery that it was left on. So the question is what lights do you have left on in your house of your existence that you are unaware that are turned on that could potentially be sabotaging the outcomes you're seeking to achieve?
The entire like a reset.
Yeah. Sometimes you even gotta just tear down the damn house and get a new one built with an updated electrical panel.
Sometimes it's something big.
Yeah.
Light, or even sometimes it's the smallest light.
Or you have too many lights.
That too.
And you need to chill.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because one of my clients I was talking to last week, and we were really getting into it on some great topics. And one thing that came up is I said, listen, health, and I think I put this in a video too, health, wealth, success, friends, and relationships. You can have them all in life. You can, but you can't have them all at the same time. You're going to have to pick and choose. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
In every business I started, grew, and eventually sold, I sacrificed 100%. And one thing, because this is what we were talking about, as I got into this vibe where I was really going back to, like, what you were talking about, you got to remember times, places, and spaces. Like the surfing business, that was it, man. That was my lane.
Yeah.
That was it. In my 20s, you would never see me at a nightclub. You would never see me at a bar. I didn't care about any of that. All I cared about was one thing on planet Earth. Well, three things, actually. Well, maybe four. Surfing, my business, my ex-wife. Well, she was my wife at the time, but we got divorced. So ex-wife. And then like say, maybe my family a little bit, but not as much as I should have at that time. That's kind of a regret. But the point is that business skyrocketed because that business got all my focus, lived it, breathed it, dreamt about it. It was just, that's where it was. And guess what followed? When you focus, the other things do tend to follow, especially the success and the money will, if you're really dialed in. That's why, I love the fact that, you're an artist, because there's such a dichotomy in the world of art. You have some artists who are the starving artists, and you have some artists who can sell paintings for what, $1 million, and they're alive today. You don't have to be dead to be successful as an artist. Everybody thinks you're going to get famous like 200 years or 500 years. Look at what's his name, Brito. I was confused with like the Brita filter, but no, he's an artist. Brito.
Yeah, no, he's very alive.
Yeah, and he's doing amazing. He's the most licensed artist ever. I think that was, meaning like people have paid to have the rights to reproduce his stuff. Yeah.
Miami, all of it. Yeah,
Yeah. What do you have to say on some of this, Sebastian? What do you think? Even though it's your question, we just.
I mean, what really stuck with me is you can't have it all right now, and it's interesting because I'm one of the businesses it's a community I'm building is merging house music community with alternative medicine and artists. So it's a community called Alchemistica, Alchemy and Mysticism, where instead of pre-gaming and being with your small group of friends in an event and not meet people, you experience some type of movement, breath work, alternative medicine every other time, and then like an artist like Rodrigo can come and share his process of whatever he did to alchemize his shadows into the light that he now shows. And by sharing that experiences with a random guy next to you, you automatically connect because there is a sense of sharing that present time experience without needing to be unconscious or escaping with any type of drug, right? And also while maintaining the the nice music. I like organic house, minimal house, and I feel like that specifically that community is a little bit toxic sometimes, and I want to offer a new alternative, right? But right now I don't have the time for a relationship, but I crave a relationship, right? But now at the moment I need to invest more time in that, and I still want to go to the gym, and I still want to do my morning hour and a half meditation, yoga, breath work sessions that I have. If you have a girlfriend right there, you're gonna need to prioritize. Okay, Thursdays and Tuesdays and Sundays are the days for to give the care for her and like have all this space. At the end of the day, what do you want? Like, what is more important? Because maybe the relationship is more important than your business. So that's where the sacrifice is so important.
Well, that could happen. That definitely could. But here's the thing: is putting it out there in the universe, letting the universe know, showing it by thought and action, what you're actually doing, and setting the criteria for that ideal person to come into your life. So hypothetically, imagine moving forward with what you just talked about. You're doing great. You're putting in the time. Things are happening. Everything's starting to unfold. That future is getting bright. Then all of a sudden, one of the events or something along those lines, your significant other, a female, shows up who you vibe and connect with. Now, you just shared some concerns, with all of us here, but maybe she presents herself without those concerns because you're very direct. You're very grounded. Whatever her name is, when that name appears, you'll say to her, you'll let her know who you are, what you're about, the mission you're on. This is what you are out to achieve. And it's kind of like finding your, did you ever see the movie 300?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's like finding your queen. Remember her? I don't remember her name, but she was, I'm just going to say it, a badass. That was the general's wife, like she had his back. They were Bonnie and Clyde. They were a ride or die team. So when you're focused and you're directed on your mission, you are going to repel a lot of what might look good, shiny, look good on the surface, say, but that's fine because that's only going to distract you.
But it's not for you.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
This alignment is going to also add to you, right? You're not going to be sacrificing because you're going to be
correct.
building
It's wind in
together.
your sails. So I guess, this road kind of hits an end with me wanting to say that. Never question that. Stay on your purpose. Stay focused. Continue to be the best you can possibly be, giving it all the love and energy you possibly can, knowing that the right people are going to show up at the right time. That's what I have to say about that.
And trusting as well is so important.
Yeah. Well, and also too, when you're young, you have a lot of questions. When I was in my 20s, forget about it. When I started my company. Oh my God, dude. I was like, that's why I know so much about burnout, because I got burnt out.
Yeah, I got burned out in my master's program. Like, so bad.
A lot of work. What do you got, Isaac? I see you have some thoughts in your head.
Well, I'm like you. I was working 18 hours a day, and just because you work a lot doesn't mean you make more money, and that's just how it is. You got to find yourself the niche that the numbers make sense. You understand them. Have to have some balance in your life, and I do think that it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship. I mean, I understand a lot of people today, they're like really want to focus on themselves and their career and themselves, but somebody wants to have a relationship, there's nothing that should hold them back from having one, because if you have your path, someone might join you and you guys are going to go parallel together to where you want to go, and that person will support you no matter what.
If it's the right one, right?
If it's the right one.
You just have to set those boundaries.
It also helps not waste time and just like direct.
Yeah,
100%.
Sometimes success comes as a couple a lot more than it is as an individual. You don't have as many distractions. Yes, there's more demands, but there's not as many distractions throughout life. There's less time for, you're just home more and, be with your girlfriend and things like that. And I don't see it as, it's like there's never the right time. My dad always told me, like, there's no right time to get married and there's no right time to have kids. You just do it, and everything else will fall into place. Every spouse, every child bring their own blessings. And even when you do something like that, in a way, it seems like you're sacrificing, but then you also get something in return. Because you give something, but you also receive something. And it could be a personal success, emotional success. It just puts you in different places. A lot of time when you get busy with those things, then you have more focus on the things that matter to you.
Because you're fulfilled in that sense, and that's like also fueling you.
Well, you got to think too, every action we take, everything we do externally is fueled by an internal desire. Some kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, like not an emptiness, but you're trying to fill something. You're trying to satisfy something. And when you do have what Isaac just described in place, a lot of those, emotional needs, I guess we'll call them, are fulfilled if it's the right person in place. And like, truth be told, when I still had my surfing company, even my cosmetics, like, I met him Isaac back in the day when I had the cosmetics company. In those days, I was getting up at 4:30 every single morning. My ex and I would go to bed every night, crawl into bed around 8:30, and then be asleep by 9:15. And I would be up at 4:30. I'd hit the gym. I'd be in my office by 7. I'd usually be home by 6:30, sometimes 7. And then just rinse and repeat every day. And then I had that routine. I didn't have a distraction of like someone calling me up on Wednesday night saying, hey, it's 2 for 1, or guess what's band's playing, because they called me. I'd be like, hey, I appreciate the invite, but no, can't do it. It didn't even hit the radar screen. It was just like a thank you and a no, as opposed to, yeah, if you're craving that, and if that's just, those feelings are always coming up and they're distracting, then you're always going to have those thoughts to wrestle with when the moment arises. But when you're able to, shelve them, and you do have that right person in your life, then it's not even a topic for discussion. But nonetheless, allow that right person to show up while you're walking your path. There's never, like, what I want to say is taking a detour or going down a road off to the side to try to find that person. Just let that keep, going in through your journey in life.
Magnetize.
100%. I've met exes before in airports, okay, on connecting flights and things like that. So it can happen anywhere, anytime, any place. Just being open to the energy, opening to receive.
Yeah, that's another topic I wanted to talk about. When you said being open, that could be different for everybody, right? Especially in the cultures, the religion, the spirituality level, like whatever spectrum that comes in. For me, it is directly related to judgment. When I tend to have a lot of judgment, a lot of things start to like fade away. My magnetism stops, and instead of resisting the ego, I've learned to listen to it, because it has something to teach us, right? By listening to it, there's no more like wrestling, like, no, mine, like, I don't want to hear that. Like, no, you hear it, okay, why am I judge this? Okay, I'm judging that person. Let me turn it around. Okay, there's something I need to work on internally, because that's why I'm judging these people that, for example, there was a time where flirty girls really triggered me. Maybe it was because I was being too flirty, and I was insecure about it. So like, instead of turning it against, like, every time we shoot at other people, we're actually like shooting ourselves. And when we look at ourselves, understand what the work we need to do, then that openness starts to flourish, like bloom out, But as you were saying, also, it's so important to have that inner work.
Yeah, I mean, it's always your biggest fear is always what you're fighting, but it's always also what you're projecting. So, for example, I don't know, someone that has a fear of abandonment, they always gonna try to give you shit because they think that this is how they're gonna keep you. If you just understand them just a little more, if you just listen to them and hear them, then you're gonna understand, and everything is gonna be okay over there. Meanwhile, they're fighting you on it, but instead of achieving one thing, they get the opposite.
Mhm.
So you always have to try to look inside and see what you're projecting out. Is it part of your trauma that you're trying to, project it out, or is it coming from a different place? So if you're more calm, then you're going to attract more positive things to your life. But as far as the relationships goes, I just wanted to add for the earlier topic. I do think that there's plenty of successful people in the world that have spouses behind them, and as long as the energies match and they go hand in hand and they feel safe and secure and they
Mhm.
support you what you do and you support them, I don't see a reason why why you have to do it all by yourself. If anything,
Mhm.
God created us to have another partner to help us
Mhm.
through life, because it's just much easier.
And then even to add on to that as well is frame control. So one thing you can always ask yourself is, who is the person I am working to be? And I'll paint a picture real quick here. I don't know how much you guys know about hypnosis. I know Isaac knows a little bit. You know a little bit, Rodrigo?
I really don't.
A little bit. Okay. Here's the thing with hypnosis is, in the world of hypnosis, something I got trained in a million years ago, is there's good hypnotists and not good hypnotists. I hate to say it, but less than 0.1% are actually good hypnotists, because one thing that they never talk about in any of the training courses, period, and this applies to everything we're talking about here, is what is called frame control. And what I mean very specifically by that is, in frames, you have a pre-frame, frame, and post-frame. So frame control means that in hypnosis, like when you're going to hypnotize someone, in order to be able to do it and execute it and get the desired result you are seeking to achieve with that person, you cannot lose frame, which means you have to be the person that they met. They have to trust you, and you have to be congruent with your personality and what you're all about through the entire process. Oh, looks like we have a call here. All right, we'll get back to hypnosis after the call.
We'll get back.
Yes.
I was hypnotized by it.
I saw you in trance. Hi, Renee.
Hi, I'm like, what kind of, who you talking to? I heard you talking to somebody else. I'm like, I didn't even say hello yet, but I heard a conversation going.
Oh, we're always talking one way or another. We got that energy flowing.
Yes, you do. You must be East Coast guy.
We are East Coast. Yes, yes.
I'm from the East Coast.
Oh, right.
Oh, you're on the show. Okay. You were actually on the Owwll podcast right now, live, getting streamed to the whole entire LinkedIn community. I believe Facebook, Instagram, and I don't know, satellite TV.
Jason must be there.
Somewhere. Even when he's not in front of me, he's there. It's on my
I know,
phone. He's in my email box.
He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's not bad. Especially when he wears baby blue. That color
Yeah,
looks good
I
on him.
know, right?
I'll tell him to send you a picture one day.
That would be great. I called 'cause I saw you online. I saw you're coaching and mindset work, and I do that as well. And I thought it would be great to connect.
Well, here we are. And by the way, I have 3 amazing co-hosts with me here too. So any questions,
Okay.
anything you want to talk about, everybody here is dialed into energy, open-minded thinking, everything like that. Everything you and I would talk about. These guys are
Oh
on
my-
board.
That's fantastic. Now, you know what? As I was waiting for my Zoom call to come in, I was like 15 minutes ago, it started. I almost got off the call because I thought he wasn't coming, and now he just popped on. And then I called you. So now I've got 2 amazing guys. One is the other side of the world, and one is in Florida. So hang on one second and let me see what we're gonna do here. Hold on one second. Yes, Vince, give me 1 minute.
I was gonna say, Renee, you're actually an hour early.
Oh, okay. I'm not on my okay, because on my thing it said an hour, it said 3:30. But anyway, I'll see if I can come back in because I do have a call after that. So I'll come back. All right, bye. All right, there we go.
All right. Are you back with us?
All right. I'm back with you.
All right, Renee.
Okay,
So
anyway.
what kind of
once you're
questions
back
can you
in-
toss at us? What do we do?
I want to hear more about you and your work because I saw you do the mindset coaching. Also a best-selling author and a empowerment coach, and I wanted to find it when I meet other people who are also doing mindset work like I do with corporations and individuals. I want to connect with them because I like finding out what they're doing, what they're up to, and see what kind of business they're running.
Sure, sure. Well, God, I can't give you all my secrets, Renee. Gosh.
And nor can I give you mine.
You can give me yours if you want. That's fine. And everyone else that's listening out there. But no, what long and the short of it is as a mindset coach, my background's entrepreneurship. I've started 7 companies, sold 3 of them, and I specialize in burnout, really just working with, entrepreneurs, executives, high achievers, helping them grow, sustain, scale their business in better ways so that they don't have to basically kill themselves in the process, go through all the stress, anxiety, because the truth of the matter is at the end of the day, it's a choice. It is. Anyone that's stressed out, overworking, feeling like, they're burning both ends of the stick or the candle, as they say, that's a choice.
Yes.
A lot of them don't want to admit it. And 99% of the people out there, even people listening, might be shaking their head agreeing, but they're still not going to do anything about it. They're still going to turn to the alcohol. They're still going to turn to the drugs. They're still going to turn to the overeating. They're still going to turn to, being a doormat or being an angry SOB and yelling at everyone. They're going to make excuses and they're going to rationalize. And guess what? Their life is going to be what it's going to be. People like you and me who do what we do, we're lighthouses. We turn on the light. If people recognize the light and want to move towards the light, we're more than happy to help them. Those that look at the lighthouse and say, I don't need that. Well, hey, feel free to crash into the rocks. I crashed into the rocks a long time when I was 30 and my life fell apart. So I know how bad that is. I was close to almost killing myself at one point. So
Jeffrey,
if people want to take it there, they can. Yeah, you've
Join
been there
the
too.
club.
You know what you're feeling this?
I was not feeling it. I was there. I mean, and Jason can tell you, I literally, I have my whole platform is finding your voice because I lost mine and doctors didn't know if I would ever speak again. I was in the ER twice. Yeah, no, it was like really a thing. But the thing was because of the story, I didn't realize at the time that I created. So I never feeling good enough, never speaking up for what I wanted or what I believed, not wanting to rock the boat or make waves, wanted to feel that, the love from other people. And so I just kept silent. I spoke up for others, but I never spoke up for me. So I ended up losing my voice because I no longer had a voice in which to speak.
So you decided to rewrite the story.
It was the metaphor of the mirror image of my life that manifested in my health. So it was the things I was doing and on this regular basis, which is, being a doormat, being a people pleaser, fear of judgment, my own limiting beliefs, my low self-esteem, running multi-million-dollar companies in corporate America, but not taking care of the girl looking back at me in the mirror.
Right.
And then I didn't have a voice in which to speak with.
Yeah. And then that's heavy because you have a lot of people who are in the same, who are in similar positions to what you were in. They're taking home great paychecks. So based on social programming and social conditioning, they're supposedly winning the game because they're making this money and they can go buy that Chanel bag or that Louis Vuitton, whatever. But yet for some reason inside, they feel as hollow as an empty egg. And
my show was like Humpty Dumpty. I was cracked all over the place. It was, they said you want to pour from an empty cup. My cup it was empty, and I was, it was getting more empty by the second. It was not a good thing. It was never filled because I didn't fill mine. I filled everybody else's.
Yep, and you were probably being well paid for it too. So it seemed like you were doing the right thing. It felt like you were doing the right thing, but inside, deep down, you knew it wasn't. You knew it was off. It's funny because I bring up a story all the time about, and I'm make it quick. When I discovered happiness was in Costa Rica. I was 23 years old, ended up playing soccer with these children on the beach. And then their mom came and invited us for lunch. I spoke no Spanish or nothing, but we communicated based on literally body language, eye contact, good vibes, good energy. And these people had way less than, say, most people in America, but yet they were happy. They loved each other. They hugged, they laughed, they kissed. It was just like real. And what would you rather have? Billions of dollars and be miserable trying to keep up with the Joneses and fight everybody? Or would you really rather have true love, happiness, and family in your heart? It's, yeah.
Yeah, it was, we don't really, when we're in it, and you probably understand because you were in it, you can't see, you know, the inside the picture from outside the frame, and you're like inside, the other way around. You can't see outside the picture from inside the frame. You can't see it because you're in it.
Yeah.
And so I had my best friend who's now watching over me from heaven. She'd yell at me. She's like, slow down. Oh no, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to. What I had to do was to listen to her, to stop the madness and slow down. And I never did because I felt I had to take care of everybody else. I had to do it. It was part of my job.
Yeah. You're
And
very
if I spoke
empathic.
up, oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
but
guess you could feel that.
Most people pleasers need to look into their childhood and figure out where it's coming from. There's always
Oh yeah,
there's many different causes for that. Always look into your childhood and figure out where it's coming from and heal that. And then once that's
yeah. Well,
done,
finding your voice. The name of my book is Finding Your Voice, Unlock Your Chains, and Unleash Your Greatness. Because the chains I was bound up, as so many are our very own, and the greatness is also our own. But we're not letting it go. We're holding on to this because it's keeping us safe in some way, although it sounds very counterintuitive. Because it's what we're used
it's always
to.
counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's what we're used to. It's the I call it.
That's where you feel safe.
The uncomfortable comfort zone. Because although it's uncomfortable, it's what we know is the familiar.
Exactly.
So yeah, that amazing. I'm so glad I called you. I saw you were on. I hadn't spoken with you. I saw what you did, and then I reached out. It's about sharing our voices and serving along the way.
Oh, well, thanks, Renee. I'm glad you called in and we got to talk, and thank you for sharing a little bit of your story too.
Absolutely.
Clearly we're all birds of a feather here. You would make a great fifth with us here today.
I'm thrilled to be with you today. I'm grateful I called. Timing is everything. And I look forward to sharing our voices again real soon.
Absolutely. Have a great one. Wow, that was deep. I was just like, wow, yeah. She came in that was solid. And I was serious. She would have been great at our table here today. She really would. She definitely would have vibed with us, and no two ways about it.
But I do think it's greatness that someone can admit their weaknesses right away.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is so important.
Vulnerability.
To establish connection.
Absolutely.
Real strength.
Being like, look at me, I'm so tough.
Yeah, I'm super successful. Look at all my achievements. Look what I've done, what I've built. But then if you're not vulnerable, then you're not accepting the other. You're not sharing your personal story.
Mm-hmm.
There's no deeper connection. It's all like, sometimes superficial.
And you can empathize as well, like really fast and like powerfully when somebody shares a vulnerability, and then you also share your vulnerability. It's like, okay, like that shell is.
Yeah, but I think sometimes people need to kind of like distinguish between vulnerability and victim mentality, because sometimes people would come to you and come off as very vulnerable and telling your personal stuff, but if someone in the first 5 minutes they tell you about how the dad raped them, you need to look into think like, hey, you're trying to buy my empathy through something really, really negative that happened in your life. So you got to always ask yourself these questions. So everything has two sides, so being vulnerable and open up is great. I'm all for it, but just look for red flags with who is opening up to you and why they open up to you so fast. And
well, a lot of context goes into a situation. Right. Look at like, does what somebody's telling you does it make sense for the situation you're in? Like, why are they telling me this?
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like if it's relevant,
out of context.
No.
Someone just walks up to you and says, by the way,
if it's relevant, like if you talk about mental health or mindset or things like that, being vulnerable in certain things and bringing it up, yeah, sure, it's amazing. But you know, if you're in a
Mhm.
social group and you're going for a pre-dinner chit chat, and then you tell someone that you know you were beaten up as a kid, then you know it's gonna say like, why are you saying that? You want me to like you? You want me to feel sorry for you?
Mm.
You know, where are you
Exactly.
coming from?
Mm.
You're at a child's baby shower and everyone's celebrating a new kid, and you just raise your hand and go, "Yeah, hey guys, I just want to let everyone know I was beaten as a child." Like, what? Record stops. Why did this happen? You know? Yeah, it's all about context.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah,
context.
vulnerability and context.
So you need to know, like he taught me that. Rodrigo taught me how to find the right place, the right time, and the right approach to say something. For example, like the clothes is in the sale, or to share that. You know, I'm good at reading some people that it's kind of in that line of victimism and wanting to connect, especially in some themes like rejection and bullying, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I recognize somebody that has those wounds, I was bullied when I was little, in my like my childhood, and I know some perspectives out of that in like my inner child that might help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
To see this other perspective, and it's just my perspective. It
A
might
lot of
work.
times
It
you
might
can use
not.
it for empathy to other people.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, I was bullied as a child, but then today I teach people how not to, or
Exactly.
how to help themselves if they are, and how to overcome it.
And then that's the great point, because if you were bullied, Isaac was, maybe were you at all?
Me
Rodri-
too, me too.
Okay, there you go.
Put me in there.
It just goes to
I wanna
show
be
that
part
you
of
can
it.
get over it. You can get over it.
course.
You
You
know,
just get
there's
over
always
it.
a light at the end of the tunnel if you're
It's a
willing to
strength.
move towards it.
It's a strength.
Yeah, it teaches you in an early age how to, you know, go over that big obstacle.
Yeah.
It's better that it happens early than later, because you learn this stuff sooner than later. That puts you in a greater position for your later years of life. No two ways about it. And speaking of which, if you're learning communication and stuff from Rodrigo, speaking of which, when I met this guy, I met him at an event in Miami. I didn't think he was his age, because not because of the way he looks, but because of the way he carried himself. Like, no two ways about it. I'll tell that story to this day. Like, the way he was talking to people. Are you kidding? People in their 20s, nothing wrong with 20s, but I'm just saying most people in their 20s do not have the social skills and social awareness of themselves in the outside environment that I've seen, like the level he was operating at. It was unbelievable. Like, he came up to me, looked me squarely in the eyes. I don't remember exactly what he said, but we just vibed. And I was like, I'm not talking to, a young man. I'm talking to a man. That's it, because again, I tell stories sometimes about when I was 22 and graduated college. Hell, I had my first company at 24, sold it by 30. All right. And I was already married and divorced by 30. So I don't meet many younger people who kind of walk that walk. So when I ran into him, he kind of reminded me of a young Jeff.
Look at that. I think that's a pat on the back for me. I think we spoke about it earlier, that way of walking. It's very important.
Yeah.
Way of moving, of carrying, because behind that walk, there's thinking. It's just being okay with yourself. Just encompassing many things we've spoken about this afternoon. The approach towards failure. Who am I? Where am I? Why am I there? Remember you at my age, perhaps you were all about surfing, but why am I there? Because it's okay to be here. I want to enjoy it. I'm with like this people. I like this tribe. Jeff, I want to go back. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go strong back. You were talking about hypnosis, man. I don't know if we still have time for that. You were talking about framing,
Yeah.
pre-framing, post-framing, right?
Yeah, that's right. All right. You brought that back. Good,
Yeah,
good,
I
good.
really just want to take that idea with me.
All right. Well, here, let me, all right, let me try something really quick. So like in hypnosis, I was talking about the good and the not so good hypnosis. All right. So the problem with most people in the world of hypnosis, and this also applies to life, so we can bridge this as well, is maintaining the frame. Okay. So here's the thing is most hypnotists at some point, place, and space, when they're in the process of hypnotizing someone or taking them to that place, to whatever it is that they're trying to get them, to feel or to think or remember, or go back to, or make that change, a tell comes out in the process, meaning like they sabotage their work. So either like, for example, they might be in the middle of hypnosis and establishing rapport and getting connection and getting trust. And maybe they're putting someone into trance and they hiccup, or their phone rings and they make a motion or a gesture or something like that. Hypnosis is a very sensitive subject. It's a very sensitive art form where when you establish connection and relationship with the client, the frame cannot be distorted one iota or one bit, meaning that hypnotist has to be congruent from the beginning to the end. There cannot be any curveballs. And it's very important for the hypnotist to control the frame, to not allow outside distractions or influences come into the work, because that has the potential to disrupt the work, because the subject can be only hypnotized and rehabilitated, helped, fixed, whatever you want to call it, to the extent that they trust their hypnotist, because hypnosis only works when you accept the suggestions. And if you do not trust the person giving you the suggestions, or if you have any doubts in your mind, it's not going to happen. It's not going to. So how does this apply to life? Well, it's frame control. So for example, you say you want to be something, you want to do something, you have the feeling it's all coming together inside, but it's not happening on the external. You need to ask yourself, okay, let's reverse engineer. Let's jump into the future and say that I'm at the top of the mountain. I'm exactly where I want to be. This is how I see myself. This is my ideal, life, with career, business, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're working towards. Well, you got to reverse engineer and literally say to yourself, what does that person look like? What do they walk like? How do they talk? How do they carry themselves? How do they think? And you got to ask yourself too, things that sabotage you and get in your way and throw you off, saying, that person that I'm visualizing like a year from now or 3 years from now, when I'm at the place I want to be, would they be distracted by these things? If they say no, what the hell are you getting distracted by it for? Frame control. You need to start being the person today that you want to be tomorrow. If you can't be the person you want today that you want to be tomorrow, it means you haven't clearly identified that person whom you want to be.
Circular timeline.
Exactly. Step into the future 1 year from today. Who are you? Okay. Once you define that, what does that person look like? What do they talk like? What do they walk like? What do they think like? How do they feel? How do they pick up the phone? How do they shake a hand? How do they look someone in the eyes? How do they ask for the order? If someone's truly a professional, you think Romeo Brito, the artist, has a problem pointing to his painting and saying, no, that'll be $5 million. Well, I don't want to pay that. I'm going to pay $4 million. No, it's going to be $5 million. That kind of confidence. So once you've defined that person from the emotional, intellectual, and physical standpoint, now it's your job to start building that person. So I guarantee you, for all of us here, for whatever our futures might be, including Jason, who's run this podcast, we all have components of that person already in place. We just have to figure out the other components and get those into alignment to hit the reality, to reach the reality, to realize it. So, all right, guys. Well, I have the red light and the light's on. We got to wrap this up tonight. So I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. My amazing co-hosts, obviously you can connect with them on the Owwll app. So make sure you download a copy, Apple Store and Google Store, or Apple Play, it's called. You can download. And that's really all we have. I'm just going to let these guys do a quick little sign off, just to remind you of who they are and where you can find them. We'll start with you, Sebastian.
My name is Sebastian Ponce. You can find me online in musically as Bastianse. I produce organic house, and now I'm getting into more ambient. And I also work with energy healing, Reiki, and sound healing. Very passionate to share the power of alternative medicine. So anytime you guys want to talk to me about any problems that you want to find something that doesn't involve surgery or pills, I got you.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Sebastian.
Having me.
And you're going to be on the Owwll app too, right?
Yes, of course.
All right. Awesome. Isaac.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming here. I feel smarter today. I always like to learn from other people from different fields. And I want to thank you, Jeff, for inviting me over. Always a pleasure. And yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Isaac. You'll be back. We'll have you back. All right, Rodrigo.
Thank you, G, for having me. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. Jason, it's great to be here, to just allow yourself to have these type of conversations. I think it's a great way to spice up my week. This has been magical.
Awesome. Well, that sums it up, guys. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for our next Membership Monday. Have a great night.